right? This definition you need to remember. The root locus of a closed loop pole is obtained when a system gain k varies from minus infinity to infinity. We call that one as a root locus here. Right, this is what the root locus part is, right? Now if in Raoult's array, in some question they used to give the value of k divided by s plus 1 into s plus 2. If the question was like this, right, this is a g of s, what we are supposed to find? We are supposed to find out the marginal value of k, right? K marginal value of k. We are supposed to find out the marginal value of k, at which marginal value of k the system changes from stable to unstable. We used to find out that. That means when we find out the marginal value of k, what does this indicate? In the s plane, if this is j omega and zeta, this is the imaginary axis and the real axis. That means the roots will be lying on the imaginary axis itself. The roots will be lying on the imaginary axis itself. That value of k is called as k marginal, right? If the k marginal value is increased, this if the value of k is increased, now the root will come towards the unstable parts. If the value of k is decreased, the root will be in the stable part like this. It again depends on the given this one CS equation, right? Now what we will be doing, we shall see what are the rules of constructing the root locus here. Rules to construct the root locus will be finding out in this, right? Now first rule, rule number 1, what does this states here is the root locus is symmetric about the real axis, right? Root locus is symmetric about the real axis. If I write the root locus here like this, what does this here is the j omega is the imaginary axis, this is zeta is the real axis. If I have the root locus, one root is going like this, let us say the root is going like this, right? If the root if the value of k is varying from 0 to infinity, if the value of k is varying from 0 to infinity, the roots are moving like this, right? That means the another path will be the same way in the mirror axis for the real axis, right? That means it is symmetric about the real axis. This is what the rule number first say, the root locus is symmetric about the real axis, right? In some in some problems we will be finding out some roots. For stable value, what is for a marginal stable value, we'll be finding out one root. Let us say one root is here, one root. If the one root is present here, the another root should be there on the imaginary axis on the opposite side as a mirror
Hi,
image.
Umanandi. Hi.
Aditya, yeah, right. This is what the rule number 1 is. It is the root locus are is symmetric about the real axis, right? Next one is, as the k increases from 0 to infinity, as the k increases from 0 to infinity, each branch of the root locus origin from open loop pole. This is pole, not pole, it is pole. It is open loop pole with k is equals to 0 and terminates at open loop 0. Terminates at open loop 0 here, right? Now how can I write this one here is, I'll just show you. Let us say we have the axis like this, we have one pole here, right? Pole means if I have the g of s in this manner, 1 plus s divided by 1 plus 2 plus s, if I have like this, the poles will be in the denominator, roots of this one, that is s is equals to minus 2 is the pole, this is pole here, and s is equals to minus 1 is 0 here. Its roots on the numerator is called as zeros. Roots of the denominators are called poles, right? So poles will be represented by into sign, and zeros will be represented by 0 here. Let us say, I'll take this example
Sir,
to
what
see.
do these poles and zeros represent, sir?
See, see, poles and zeros means these are just the roots of the given characteristic equation, right? roots of the given characteristic equation. In the numerator, whatever is there, the roots, this one, roots of that numerator is called as poles. It completely, this root locus dependent only on the zero. That means only on the denominator part, not on the numerator part. Right. So what we, to construct that one, he has given some name as poles and zeros. That's it. Right. So I'll take this pole as -2 is here, and 0 as -1 is here. Right. This is -1, this is -2. Poles are represented by into sign, and zeros will be represented by 0 here. Now what it tells, as k increases from 0 to infinity, each branch of the root locus origin from open loop pole. Open loop pole is this one. This open loop pole, and terminate at open loop 0 here. Terminate at open loop 0 here. That means the root should start from this point and terminate here like this. This is the path of the root locus here. This is the path of root locus like this. That means it will start from 0. So it will start from pole and terminate at 0 here. This is what the second rule is. In some questions, what happens here is, we'll be having two poles. We'll be having two poles here. See, we'll be having two poles here. We'll be having two poles like this, and we will be not having any zeros here. So what happens is, now the root locus will be like this. It will start from open loop pole, right? One root will start like this, another root will start like this here. Both the roots will be coming in the opposite direction, and it will be meeting at one point, and it will go like this. It will go like this, and we don't have, as we don't have any zero in the question, and as we don't have any zero in the question, this will continue till where? Till it reaches infinity. At the point of infinity, the zero will be present. We'll be assuming the infinity is present at the the zero is present at infinity, and it will be terminated. It will be
Sir, what is the
terminated.
meaning of open loop pole and open loop zero, sir?
See, this is that, those are the roots. That's it. Roots of this one. I told na, we'll be when I solve the numerical, we'll understand that one. Like we'll be having some question like this: g of s is equals to 1 plus s into 2 plus s divided by 0.5 plus s. Like this, we'll be having 3 plus s like this. These roots of the numerator, we call it as zeros.
Yes, sir. This I understood, sir. But what is the meaning of open loop zeros and open loop poles as a pole, sir?
See, those are the roots. That's it. Roots of the numerator and roots of denominator.
Okay.
You need to equate this to 0. You need to equate this to 0, and you need to find out the roots of that one. Those are given as name as 0 and poles. Denominator will be given as poles, and numerator are given as zeros. That is, those are the names of that one. Just remember that, right? Now we shall go. That is what he has given. It increases from 0 to infinity. Branches of root locus originates from open loop pole with k is equals to 0, and terminate at open loop 0 on infinity, where k is infinity. With k is infinity, as the k value is increased, the root locus will be plotted on the graph here like this. Right now, thus, the number of branches terminating to infinity is equal to number of poles minus number of zeros here. Right. Let us take this question itself, this one here. In this, what we have? How many poles we have in this? Right. Here, see in the denominator, the poles I can write as s is equals to minus 0.5 and s is equals to minus 3. These are the poles. Right. And in the numerator, what we have, s is equals to -1 and s is equals to -2 here, right? So this is zeros, right? See, this s is equals to -1 and s is equals to -2. We have two zeros. S is equals to -0.5, s is equals to -3. These we have two poles here, right? So p minus z, poles minus 0 is how much? It is 0 here. That is 2 minus 2 is 0 here. So this represents there will be no poles no branches terminating to infinity. This will not be happening. We'll be not having any roots which is terminating to infinity here. In some questions, we'll be having like this. If we don't have the numerator, let us say we have only value of k. So this zeros will be 0 here. This will be 0 here. This will be 0 here. So p minus z is what is 2. P minus z is what is 2. That means two branches will be terminating to infinity. Here one like this. Two branches will be terminating to infinity. In some questions, what we have, we will be having the numerator. Real numerator is 1 plus s. Just a minute. Just a minute, guys. Sorry for that. Right. Yeah, we were doing with this one, right? Now, in some questions, what we have, we will not be having the denominator. Let us say 1 plus s into 2 plus s. This is the given question here. G of s is what? G of s is equals to 1 plus s. Let us say we'll be having one more for the question 0.5 plus s. We'll be having the question like this. So what we have, number of zeros, z is equals to what? Z is equals to, here one root, this is the second root. So z is equals to 2, and we have the p, number of poles is what? Number of poles will be 1. Number of poles will be 1 and number of zeros will be 2. So at the end, we will be, how much will be having? P minus z is what? It is minus 1 here. P minus 1 is minus 1. What does this indicates means, when we have this type of number, minus 1 means, so one root is coming from the infinity here. This is terminating to infinity. This root, whatever I have written here, it is terminating to infinity here. But when we have the negative sign here, p minus z is negative, that means one root is coming from infinity to the 0 which is present on the S plane or the graph here. If I have 0 here, that means one root is coming from infinity and it is terminating here in the graph here. Is what the minus 1 indicates. If we have minus 2 means, that means 2 will be coming and terminating at 0 here in the graph. From infinity, two roots are coming and terminating at the graph here. From infinity to the graph here. This is what the thing here is, right? Terminating to infinity or coming from infinity. This is what we need to understand here.
Sir, one dot, sir.
Yeah.
So you tell, according to rule number 1, root locus is always symmetrical about the real axis, but in that case, p minus z is equal to minus 1. It is not symmetrical.
See, p minus z is minus 1 means it is not symmetrical. Yes, it is correct. But what happens here is, sometimes the roots will be breaking, right? One root will be coming from like this. Let us say it is coming in this axis, real axis. It is, if it is coming in the real axis, that means it is symmetrical, right? Right. It is coming, if it is coming from the in the real axis, that means it is symmetrical. We cannot break the rule number 1 here again, right? That means if we are getting minus 1 means one root will be in the real axis itself, in this axis here, or it might be coming like this, or it might be coming like this in this direction, here like this. This again, it will be symmetrical only. Got the point? Yeah, we'll go for rule number. Huh? Didn't got?
No, yes, sir. Dot, sir.
See, I have that example also in the problem. When I get to that, we'll be seeing. See, what happens here is, this is the, well, let us say we have 1 0 here, only 1 0 here, and we have 2 poles here. Here one pole, here one pole. So the root locus is somewhere here. The root locus exists in between these two, right? And
yes,
it is breaking and it is moving like this. Let us say it is moving, sorry, it is moving like this here, right? But here 1 0 is there, right? Here 1 0 is there. What happens here is, That means if I take this type of question, so one root should come from infinity. Let us say one root should come from infinity. That means these two roots will be coming like this. These two roots will be coming like this, and one root is coming here and it is terminating at 0. Another root is going to the infinity here. Right, this is going to the infinity here. This is coming and terminating at this point 0 here. Right, I'll take one more example. I'll write it below itself so it will be easy. Right. I'll take one more example. Let us say we have only 1 0 here. When we have only 1 0 here, so what happens? We don't have any roots. So the root will be starting from infinity now. The root will starting from infinity and terminating here like this. So what we have when I take p minus z, p minus z, p is 0, z is what? Z is 1. So this will be minus 1. So in this case, minus 1 means one root is starting from infinity. This is started from infinity and it is coming on the real axis itself. It is coming on the real axis itself. So it is symmetrical about the real axis. It is symmetrical about the real axis. This is what, if I get the minus 1 means one root is coming from infinity. If I get minus 2 means two roots are coming from infinity. It might be somewhere here. It might be coming like this. Another root might be coming like this. It is symmetrical about the real axis here.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Okay. Now I need to erase this one. Right. Now what is the third rule here is the point on the real axis lies. So the point on the real axis lies on the locus if number of open loop poles plus a number of open loop zeros, open loop 0 on the real axis to the right of the point is odd. Right, here is told number of poles plus number of zeros should be it should be odd, then only the root locus exists. This is the rule number 3 here. Right, now I'll take one example. We have the root locus like this. We have here one pole, here 0, and here one pole. Right. So we need to find out whether the root locus exists or not. First, I shall take this is minus 1, this is minus 2, minus 3, minus 4. In first case, I'll be taking with respect to minus 1 and minus 2. In between minus 1 and minus 2, that means in between these two, does the root locus exist or not? We need to check here with the respect to rule number 3. In rule number 3, what I have told, a point on the real axis lies on the locus if number of open loop poles plus zeros on the real axis to the right of this point is odd. To the right of this point is odd, right? So if I take this one, let us say in between these two, does the root locus exist or not? Right? In between these two, let us take this is the towards right of this. We need to check how many poles and zeros are there. Count how many poles and zeros are there towards the right of this point. We have only one pole plus 0. One pole plus 0. That means it is odd. One pole plus 0, it is odd. That means root locus exists. Root locus exists here. Root locus existing here. That means here in between these two, we have the root locus part here. Right. Next, I shall take between minus 2 and minus 3. In between minus 2 and minus 3. That means here. With this, I'll take one. Yeah. In between these two, we need to check for the existence of root locus here. Minus 2 and minus 3 in between these two here. So minus 2 and minus 3, how many poles plus zeros are there in this? P plus Z is how much? We have P is 1, 2. 2 poles are there. 2 plus 0, it is 2. Is what? It is even. So when I get even number of poles plus 0, that means the root locus does not exist in between these two. Right? Thus, the root locus does not exist in these two here. That is minus 2 and minus 3 here. Next, I'll take in between these two minus 4 and minus 3 here. Minus 3 and minus 4 in between these two here. So in between these two, towards the right of this, count how many poles and zeros are there. P plus Z. Poles are 2, zeros are 1. Here we have 2 poles and 1 0 here. Right, we have 2 poles and 1 0 here. So how much it will be? It will be 3. So this is again odd. 3 is odd. Right. So in between these two, the root locus exists here. We need to check for the existence of root locus. So if we have towards the right of any point, if the number of poles plus zeros are odd, then the root locus exists. Right. If the poles plus zeros are even, that means the root locus does not exist here. Root locus does not exist when we have even number of poles plus zeros. When we have odd number of poles plus zeros, then the root locus exists. This is what the rule number 3 states here. Right. Thus, a point on the real axis lies on the locus if the number of open loop poles plus zeros on the real axis to the right of the point is odd. The number of branches will be P or Z, whichever is greater. P or Z means number of poles or number of zeros. How many branches you need to check? If I have number of poles and zeros, right? Number of poles and zeros, that means 3 is there. Number of poles and zeros. Now poles are 3. P is 3 in this, right? 1, 2, and 3. There are 3 poles and zeros is how much? 0 is 1. So which is greater? That is P is greater. So we will be having 3 branches here. We will be having 3 branches here. If we have the zeros as 4 means that means we will be having 4 branches. Right? If the P is 3 and Z is 4, that means we will be having 4 branches. If we have 3 and 1, poles are 3, zeros are 1, that means whichever is greater, that is 3 branches. 3 is greater, so we will be having 3 branches here. That is what the rule number 3 is. Just you remember, poles plus zeros, if the root locus exists only when we have the P plus 0, Z is odd. P plus Z is odd, then we have then the root locus exists. Right. Next, here in the rule number 4, what it states, the P minus Z branches of the locus which tends to infinity do so along the straight line asymptotes whose angle are given by. Right. You need to find out the asymptote angles here. That is phi. Phi is given by, this is asymptote, phi of A we will be writing 2q plus 1 into 180 whole divided by P minus Z. Right? Q is what? Q is 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. up to P minus Z minus 1. Right? That means, see here in the question, in some problems, what we have, we will be having like this here. We will be having 1 pole, we will be having another pole, we will be having 1 0. Right? So we need to find out the how does this root starts. We need to find out the angle of this root starts here. So when you substitute the value of this one in the given question, in the formula here, that is phi is equals to 2q plus 1 into 180 divided by P minus Z. I'll write on that here. Phi of A is equals to 2q plus 1 into 180 divided by P minus Z. Right. So P number of poles is how much? We have 2 here. I'll write here. 2 number of zeros is what? There is 1 here. So Q is what? Q is what? Q is equals to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. up to P minus Z minus 1. Let us say, I'll take one more. Here one more pole is there. So this becomes 3. Right? 3 minus 1 is what? 3 minus 1 is 2. Right? 3 minus 1 is 2 here. So P minus Z minus 1 is what? 2, 3 minus 1 minus 1 here. Right? 3 minus 1 is what? It is 1. So the Q will be what? Q will be 0, 1. Q will be 0, 1. Substitute the value of Q is equals to 0 and find out the value of this. Right? So it is 2 into 0 plus 1 into 180. So how much it will be? Just calculate. You might get here 180 divided by 2, it will be 90 here. First will be 90. And when you substitute 1, when you substitute 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 into 180 divided by 2. You might get some value. It is, let us say 135 or something you might get here. So when you get these two values, that means one, it is negative. That is 90 degree. One, the root will be starting 90 degree. Here it might be going like this or like this. And one other will be 135 here. 135, it is going with that 135 angles in that side. This is what you need to find out here. In some question, you will be getting it is 0, 180, 360 like this. You will be finding out these values. So that means 0 means it is going along the real axis itself. It is going along the real axis itself. 135 it is also 180 it is also going along the real axis itself. So if you get that value, you need to find out this minus 90 minus 135. Right? Minus 90 it is going like this. 135 it might coming like this. So this is what you need to find out the departure angle here. And that is what the root locus, rule number 4 states here. That is P minus Z branches of the root locus which tends to infinity do so along the straight line asymptote angle here. Right. So we need to find out these asymptote angles. After finding out this asymptote angle, you need to draw that asymptote angle here. So in some cases, what you will get, you will be getting 45, right? 135, like some values you will be getting. You need to draw those values 45, 135, like this. You need to draw those values with respect to some point. That point is called asymptote. That point is called asymptote. We need to find out that point, and then with respect to that point, the root locus will be moving. With respect to that point, the root locus will be moving like this here. Right. So this you will understand only when I start the numerical. So just remember this formula. That is 2q plus 1 into 180 divided by P minus Z here. Right. I told this is value to find out the asymptote angle here. This is the formula to find out the asymptote angle here. But where does the asymptote lives, or where does the asymptote point is? We need to find out that one here. That is given by rule number 5 here. The asymptote, the asymptote crosses the real axis at a point known as centroid. We need to find out that point is called as centroid, which is given by sigma A is the centroid. That is nothing but summation of real parts of pole, summation of real parts of pole minus summation of real part of zeros divided by number of poles P minus number of zeros Z here. Right. So this is the centroid point we need to find out. I told here in this we need to find out this centroid point. To find out this centroid point, we need to use this formula here. That is summation of real parts of poles minus summation of real parts of 0 divided by P minus Z. Right. Summation of real parts of poles means when I take some question, that is G is equals to P plus, that is S plus 1 into S plus 2 divided by S plus 3 into S plus 4. For this, we need to find out the number of centroid here. So what we, we need to take some more. S plus 5 here, like this it will be there, and S plus 6. I shall take this type of question. So what we have, zeros, Z is what? The roots of zeros will be minus 1 and minus 2. Roots of poles will be minus 3, minus 4, minus 5 and minus 6. So Z is what? 2, and poles is what? It is 4. So these are the real parts of poles. These are the real parts of poles, and these are the real parts of zeros. So in the given questions, we need to find, when we need to find out the centroid, this becomes minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus of, this is the real parts of poles, minus of real parts of 0, minus 1 and minus 1 and minus 2 here. divided by number of poles is 4 minus 2. You calculate this one, you will be obtaining one value, that is the center. The value whatever you obtain, that is the centroid here. That means this is the point of centroid what we have found out here with this formula. Right. This is what the rule number 5 is. Right. Now, next one is the break away and break in point. Break away point means the point at which the branch of root locus leaves the real axis. If it leaves the real axis, that will be the break away point. If it comes and merges with the real axis, that is called as a break in point. That is called as break in point. I'll write break away point here. It is BAP, break away point here. If we have two poles here like this, right, and we have 0 here, 1 here, 1 0 here, it will be. So the root locus will move like this. The root locus will move like this here in this manner, and another root will move in this manner. At some point, it has to divert here like this. It has to divert here like this, right? And merges with 0 here, and another point will merges with 0 here, right? This is the root locus here. This point is called as a break away point, right? That means it is moving away from the real axis. That is what break away point is, right? Let us say we have two zeros here. Here 1 0, here 1 0 will be there. Somewhere here one pole is there, here one pole is there. So the root locus starts from the pole here like this. It comes here in this manner, merges with the real axis. Similarly, it comes here like this and it merges with the real axis here. This is the root locus, how it is moving here. So at this point, it merges here and again it breaks and moves towards 0 here. Moves towards 0 and merges with 0 here. Right? This is called break in point. BIP. Break in point. Here the locus of the point roots are breaking inside the real axis and merges with 0 here. Here it is breaking away from the real axis. It is breaking away from the real axis here. That is what break in point and break away point here is. Break away point is a point at which the branches of root locus leaves the real axis. The break in point is the point at which two branches returns to the real axis here is. It returns to the real axis here. Right? This is what the break in point and break away point is. Right. Next is, yeah.
Fifth point, can you just show once again, so the formula?
Formula, yeah. This is the summation of real parts of poles minus summation of real parts of 0 divided by P minus Z. Right. Now we shall go with the seventh one, angle of departure and angle of arrival. Right. So for this we have one formula. The angle of departure for open loop pole is given by phi of P. Open loop pole phi of P is plus or minus 180 into 2q plus 1 into plus 5 here. And similarly, summation for departure it is given by, it is plus or minus 180 into 2q plus 1 minus of 5. See here, for both the case we have the same formula. Only thing is the sign changes here. Here for open loop pole we have plus 5 and open loop 0 plus minus 5 here. Open loop 0 is this one is minus 5 here, right? For this we need to find out the angle of phi here. We got to know what is q and all those things, right? Q is nothing but 0, 1, 2, 3, etc., right? But here we don't know the value of phi. We don't know the value of phi. Value of phi is nothing but the angles of zeros minus angles of poles here. This is the angles of zeros minus angles of poles. I've seen students getting confused with this. Right? Here, see here, phi is 0 minus pole. Phi is what? 0 minus pole. It is not poles minus 0. Angles of poles minus 0. It is not angles of poles minus 0. It is 0 minus poles. These are 0 minus poles here. But in the above case, whatever we had, we used to take for calculating P and Z here. In this, where it was not here. Yeah, in this, P minus Z is poles minus 0 here. Branches, whatever we used to find, it is poles minus 0 here. But here in this question, it is what? It is here in this rule, it is angle of 0 minus pole. In the previous thing, we had poles minus 0. Here we have 0 minus pole to find out the angle. To find out the angle here. So for this, I'll take one example and I'll explain you. See, we have like this. Let us say this is the real imaginary axis. This is the real axis. We had 1 0 here, 1 pole here, 1 pole here. Let us say this pole value is it is minus 1 minus j, minus 1 minus j. It is minus 1 plus j. It is minus 2. Right, these are the points. This is a complex conjugate. These two are the complex conjugate. This is the real one. I think I don't have time, so I'll just explain in brief. So if I want to find out this point here, if I want to find out the angle of departure here, this is the angle of arrival. 0 will be angle of arrival. You need to find out angle of departure here. Right? That is phi d I need to find out. Right? To find out phi d, what is the formula we had? 180 plus 180 into 2q plus 1 plus into phi here. Right. So the first I need to find out the value of phi. Phi is what? So this angle you need to find out first. This angle you need to find out first. So this angle will be 45 degree. This angle will be 45 degree. And this angle you need to find here. This angle is what? This angle with respect to this will be how much? It will be 90 degree. This will be 90 degree and